Hello and welcome to another Three Girls One Monthly Catch Up. With this time we are catching up on all things April. And if you've not been here before, you've not seen one of these before, this is just a way for us to chat about the decks and the films and the books and stuff that we have been playing around with or watching or whatever in April. And it A, keeps us accountable for actually doing it. And B, we find that it's just much better to have a conversation about this stuff than just talk to a camera for an hour. So we're going to go through our usual order, starting with decks, and Sarah is going first this time, I believe. So,
all right. Well, so I decided to have like comfort April from a deck perspective. I spent the entire month with my beloved Touchstone Tarot. I didn't use any Oracle with it, nothing. I just spent the entire month with the Touchstone Tarot. It felt so wonderful. I loved every second of it. It just was so nice. Like it was like a very comforting, comfortable, just lovely month that I spent with this deck. This is like my all-time favorite deck, and I'm so like bonded with it and familiar with it that it just, and I felt it was one of those things too where like, sometimes when you're working with the deck and you're making a point to spend an entire month with the deck, you sometimes run into those moments where you're sort of like, oh, I'm like, this is fine, but I'm not like the most excited to work with this deck. And I've had a couple of months in the last couple of months where I've had, decks that I haven't been super excited to reach for, and have been kind of forcing myself to reach for them, and eventually decided to rehome them after the month was over. But this one never feels like that. It just made me happy to reach for every single day. So it was just a very, very lovely month with this deck. So that was the one thing I did. I did do one other thing, which wasn't really, like a deck in terms of daily draws or anything like that. But I have started working my way through the 36 Secrets book and learning about, deck-ins and the cards associated and all that kind of stuff. So I actually started this obviously in late March because that's when it all starts. But obviously April was the first month that I really started working through it. And so as a result of that, I have had my Wild Way Oracle out, and I've had a card from this deck on display every day. I just have the card for the appropriate deck-in on display while that deck-in is transpiring. And this is just a beautiful deck, and I love the messages on it, and it's just been a really nice sort of like little daily reminder. I actually have the card displayed in my bedroom, like right by my bed, so that this is something that I'm seeing like every day, very specifically looking at every day. And it's just such a lovely little deck, and I'm really glad that I got this as an additional tool to help me sort of work through and understand the deck-ins. And like all the little animals in it are so cute, and it just gives all that astrology a very kind of earthy, grounded feeling. And it has been really, really nice and really fun. I think this deck is so stinking cute. So
it is nice.
It's just look at this.
That's
It's so cute. I love
it. It's so cute.
So cute. So I've been super happy working with this one. And yeah, that's pretty much the only other deck that I spent any time with in April was this one, because I just did my daily draws and my readings with the Touchstone, and like that was it for the entire month. So it was a very, very like low deck usage kind of month. So that's me.
So then I was on the opposite spectrum because I worked with several decks, and yeah, it was high turnover because I think once again focus has been an issue, and I was changing my mind a lot, but like I did, and of course I won't show them all here, but just to list, like I did work with the new classic Tarogi, is that what that's called, by Mr. Freeborg. I did, of course, I've still been working with this deck, my Cup of Contemplations, where I've continued to pull a card every week and journal or meditate about the card, which I may or may not retire this because it's been a little too on the nose lately for me to unpack things. And I'm just like,
it's like, my deck is calling me out.
Yeah. like, okay, do I want to spend this time to focus on my shit, or do I just want to be in denial and avoidance for right now? Like, like, so I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but it's yeah, it has been calling me out just a little bit. Bangtan Tarot, that was lovely. That was lovely. I also did work with some pip decks, Tarot of the Heart, which is like a Korean deck. But the ones that I'll focus on are, I intentionally kind of like paired them together around. So in terms of the oracle that I was pairing tarot around, it's the Citadel Oracle.
Oh, you got the
You got
Citadel.
it.
I did get
Yeah.
it. I did get it. And it's interesting because so I was working with this deck. And then also last month, I had been working with the Endless Oracle that Logan from Larkin Legend loaned to me, which was very nice of them. They loaned it, that along with the Endless Lenormand.
Mhm.
And so it's really interesting because I feel like the two oracles are similar in the way that they label their archetypes. It's very much like, see here, like they have the shepherd
Mhm.
and the sleeper, and like the Endless Oracle is very much that way too. It's like the pair, the familiar,
Mhm.
and the so of the two, I found myself reaching for this one and enjoying this one way more. The
Oh.
Endless Oracle just really actually felt quite flat for me.
Mhm.
It was okay. Daily pulls were just okay. The
Mhm.
imagery, of course, beautiful, which was why I was interested in the deck to begin with.
Mhm.
But for some reason, just the messages and
Mhm.
the focus of each card just wasn't landing for me. And even when looking at the images, like I was just like, okay, it's pretty, but I don't know. It just didn't, it just,
Mhm.
You have the guidebook, right, for the Endless
I
Oracle?
did. Yes, I did. And same with the Lenormand. I was just
Mhm.
like, I actually would rather maybe use a different Lenormand. So and nothing, you know what I mean? They're perfectly serviceable, fine, beautiful decks. But this one just sang, daily draws. I just found the messages, the system
Mhm.
that this creator has, just the world building of
Mhm.
this particular deck, that it's inspired by the fantasy books and the tabletop gaming,
Mhm.
and you can tell, right?
You
So
want this deck so bad.
Yeah,
it's
it's so cool.
I personally love it. And just, yeah, the imagery is just so beautiful.
Mhm.
And even with like the Endless Oracle, I even tried doing a spread with it,
Mhm.
um, which again, it was just like, it actually read better as a Miriorama, like
Mhm.
a panel, than
Mm.
it did when I was investigating each of like the, 5, 6 cards that I laid out.
Mhm.
So in that way, the spread it was fine, it was helpful, but again, just overall
Mhm.
was, yeah, it just didn't work out. So I'm very grateful to Logan that they lent it to me, and then I could just send it right back and be like, thank you. And
Give me a try. Don't need to buy it.
don't need to
Yeah.
buy it. I really appreciate that you lent both of them to me. And so what I ended up pairing those two with, because it's got such a fantasy flair, and it's interesting though, aesthetic wise, I don't really have much that like matches per se,
Mhm.
but vibe wise,
Mhm.
I was going with firstly Terre de la Nuit.
Mhm.
I mean, come on, like,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
mean, when you
Fantasy
see,
vibes.
yeah, I mean, these characters would be traipsing through this city,
Yeah,
of
totally.
the Citadel Oracle for sure. So this was one. This was a good time. You know how much I love this deck. So yeah, it just delights me. It
Hmm.
just makes me giggle. I think it's just a lot of fun,
Mhm.
and I definitely needed some fun,
Mhm.
especially like just lately in
Yeah.
the last month. I've just needed some fun. So I paired that, and then also Hanson Roberts, because this,
Mhm.
this feels like, these people would also, you could also see them kind of making their way through the city, or as like characters or archetypes in
Yeah.
in the Citadel.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah. So, and this is an oldie but a goodie. So I knew that this would land well for me and read well. And so, yeah. So again, visually, they don't necessarily go,
Mm-hmm.
but they read well together.
Yeah.
So I found that pretty cohesive.
That was the same experience that I had with the Citadel. It's pairing it aesthetically was basically impossible.
Yeah,
Pairing it vibe-wise worked great, you
Yes.
know.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not like they look, it's not like they look awful together, I think it's not bad, that's not, I think the fact that this is a more like limited, palette,
Mm-hmm.
it actually works, especially this one with the more primary colors.
Mm-hmm.
This one is not bad. So it's not super jarring, but yeah, I find Citadel to be would be very difficult to pair with aesthetically. Like I just don't really have anything. That was my month of April.
I got 2 new decks at the end of March, so I thought I would work with both of them. So I got the Sassorabito Tarot, and I did like half a month with this and then half a month with the other deck that I got. I liked it a lot. I thought it was a really nice deck to work with. I like the imagery. It reads really well. It didn't like wow me or blow me away, but every deck doesn't need to wow you or blow you away, right? Some decks are just nice, easy, workhorsey type vibes. And this one went on and off my wish list for such a long time that I decided to just get it. When you have that moment where you just think this is ridiculous, just get the damn deck. And if you don't like it, just pass it on.
Right.
Yeah.
The world's not going to end.
Yeah.
So, and I'm really glad I have it. I am really, really glad I have it. There's some cards in here I really love.
Yeah.
I love the backs of these cards as well.
Yeah.
Death Moths I quite like because I'm a weirdo and a bit.
I love them too, actually.
Old school goth. So I really love this Judgment card. So I liked it. I liked it a lot. And yeah, I'm really, really glad I have it. I didn't use any Oracle this month, so I just used this deck on its own for half a month. And then I used the other deck that I got for the other half of the month. And I'm a bit low-key obsessed with the other deck now. So the other deck that I got was the Future Ancestor Tarot. I know you can't, but this is.
Yeah.
I don't generally talk about my decks like this, but I can't think of any other way to explain it. This is the most gentle deck I have ever worked with. There's just something really safe and warm and kind and just like I had a tough couple of weeks towards the end of April when I was working in it, beginning of May, and this deck was exactly what I needed in that moment. It's just such a lovely deck. And it doesn't even like when you first get it and there doesn't seem to be like a huge amount going on. And yet it just, it's quiet. It's a really quiet, gentle, lovely, lovely deck. I'm obsessed with this deck. I'm so glad I own it. Yay. And it's one of those ones I think if I'm having like a bad day or I'm feeling low or I just need, I need a reading, but I need it to be kind and like not like shove the answer in my face and call me out. I'm definitely going to go for this one because it's just so nice.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
Maybe I might need to buy this one then because sounds like I'm in need of that deck.
So wonderful. Even just the fact that like all of the suit symbols, there are no weapons in the suit symbols.
No.
Like even the sword, they're not swords, they're needles. It's all tools. It's needles and candles and cups and like it's so just it's a very peaceful deck. I love it.
And it's done it changes the court cards. So you've got like the Explorer and you've got the Seeker is one maybe. And the Student, the Explorer.
I can't remember.
Listener is the Queen. And then let me see if I can find a king.
I'm trying to remember.
The Maker.
Oh, yes.
But you've got
Yes.
the student, the explorer, the listener, and the maker. And I really love that. I'm discovering that I really like court cards
Renamed.
I really, really like it. So yeah, it's such a nice deck. I would
Get it.
highly recommend it to anybody who needs a little bit of gentle, like, just gentleness. Like, it doesn't, like, it's still very, it's hard to explain, but it's still very on the nose, and it doesn't shy away from giving you what you need. It just does it in a really, like, nice, like, you know, when you go to your mum, like, when you just need somebody who's just gonna be kind to you because they have to be. It's got that kind of vibe about it. So
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, Julie, I think you're gonna have to give it a go. I think you would really benefit from it.
Yeah, it's been on my, wish list. It's kind of been like on off. Like I just couldn't decide, but I think that you've sold me on it finally.
Yeah, it's
definitely been on my radar, and I keep hemming. I don't know why. I keep hemming and hawing about it, but okay.
It's a really wonderful deck. Yeah.
It's just, I mean, it was on and off mine as well, especially I think, Sarah, you showed it in one of our lives and talked about it quite a bit, and it went on my radar then, but I was like, there just doesn't seem to be very much happening with this deck.
Yeah.
It's simple. It's definitely a simple deck. Like, it's simple, but it
really takes you by surprise.
Yeah, it makes you really feel held in a way. Like, it's just very, and yeah, when I first got it, I specifically got it because my grandparents had just passed away, and when I was reading about the creator's inspiration for the deck, it was because her grandparents had passed away, and I was like, okay, like, maybe I'll give this a try because, like, this deck is inspired by something I'm going through. And then I just loved it so much. It was like, it just got me through such a tough time. So yeah, it just is a very beloved deck for me. So yeah.
So next up is books. So Julia, I think, is going to share with us some books that she read in April.
I think it was Sarah.
Sarah?
I think I will. Yeah.
Okay, Sarah, how about you share some stuff that you read in April?
So the main book that I read in April, because it was quite a long book, but I really, really enjoyed it, but was Babel by R.F. Kuang. And that was a really, really good book. And I don't know, have either of you guys read it?
No, it's on my bookshelf, but I've not got to it yet.
Okay. So it's a very cool book. It takes place in around the 1830s in the UK, in and around Oxford. And it's basically a story of the magic system in the book is around translation and the translation of words. And so basically it's a novel about colonialism and cultural appropriation, in that basically, like, the resources that the UK is taking from other countries. Our main character is from China, who comes to the UK to be a translator in this translation institute, which is like the thing that powers all of the magic that underlies the whole economic system of Europe. And so it's basically about how, language is a culture. A cultural asset, basically, and how, making use of another culture's language is in and of itself, a form of cultural appropriation. And so it's really, really interesting about basically these Oxford scholars who realize how much the work that they're doing, they're all scholars. They're all obsessed with translation. They're all obsessed with language. Like, that's their field of study, and they're fascinated by it. But they sort of gradually come to realize how much the work that they're doing is just sort of propping up the project of colonization, and, figuring out how difficult it is for them to actually fit into the world that they're in, and they're all from other countries, or some of them are women. And, like, as Oxford scholars in the 1830s, like, despite the fact that they're part of this big important institution, they don't have the same feeling of belonging where they are that obviously citizens do. And so it's just a really, really interesting book, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, I thought it was really intelligently done. It was very different from any other book that I've read in terms of like the foundations of the sort of magical system that underpin this whole fantasy version of the world, and sort of alternate history fantasy version of the world. And it was really good. So yeah, I highly recommend that book. It took, I mean, I spent a long time reading it because it's quite long, but
footnotes as well, right?
Yeah, and it's got footnotes. Like, it's interesting, like the footnotes, again, because the book takes place in and around Oxford, there is this sort of scholarly tone to some of the book, and so there are tons of footnotes throughout the book. But yeah, it's just, honestly, it really, really kept me engaged, the entire time, and I don't know, it was really, really good book. So without giving away too many more spoilers, I highly recommend that one. It was really good. So, and the author herself obviously knows a lot about language and linguistics, because she's talking very specifically about how different words and different etymologies are sort of coming together to form the foundations of this magical system. And it's really interesting. Like, you actually learn a lot about certain other languages and stuff too. It's really good. So I highly recommend that one. That's pretty much the only book that I like fully read start to finish during the month of April. So
it's a long one too, so it makes sense.
It is a long one.
Yeah, it was good.
Okay, so one book that I did finish, and I audio read this one, is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And it's a shorter book, and I think I liked it. I don't know if I liked it because Jeremy Irons was the one narrating it, and I listened to him recite anything, or if I genuinely liked the story. I mean, the story was interesting enough in that, well, it follows this character named Santiago. He's this shepherd, Andalusian. I think he's Andalusian shepherd, and he is on this quest for discovering what is referred to throughout the novel as his personal legend. So and to find this treasure buried in the Egyptian pyramids. And so it follows this character as he goes on these goes on this quest, and they're like little mini adventures and things like that. And so I think that was enough to, on top of Jeremy Irons narrating it, I think that was enough to keep me invested. And it's not very long. And I think the way that it's probably a combination of the way that the author wrote the novel, and then Jeremy Irons just being a wonderful novel narrator, that it has had a very story-like feel, as if someone's like reading this to you, before you go to bed or something like that, And so it was very calming and nice. So I think that's probably also a factor in, that I did end up finishing it, one, and that I liked it okay. I think I liked it okay. Yeah. So. And then, of course, I also finished Nettle and Bone in anticipation of our Three Girls, One Book special that we'll be doing later this month. And so I will not talk about that here. We shall wait until that live. And then I also started People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry, one of Heather's all-time favorite authors. I haven't made too much headway with that, but it's like a buddy read with a friend. So I'll hopefully have that finished soon. But so far I'm enjoying it. And this is not really a spoiler, but it's about, and Heather's talked about this book, I think, in a previous catch up, where it's just about these two characters. They've been besties and they go on these summer trips, and then some shit goes down during one of these trips. And then they haven't talked for 2 years since. And so as you're reading this, it's like they make mention of this ill-fated, event, but you have no idea. And I have found myself thinking, can't you just tell me? You just why be so, vague about it? Just freaking tell me.
It'd be a very short book though, right? If they just gave you all the information up front.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's all right if you just tell me upfront, like what went down, because like the rest of the book is then about, the fact that they are actually meeting up again and what's going to come of that. So that was the only thought I had. Otherwise, it's been fine. And, it's been
Mhm.
coming along fine.
Mhm.
And I think that's it for April.
I didn't read very much in April at all, actually. I did finish. So one of the books I started and finished was obviously Nettle and Bone, but I'm not going to talk about that.
Mhm.
And I read The Lost Metal by Brandon Sanderson, which I also can't talk too much about
Mm.
because it is the fourth book
Mm.
in what is it when they're four? It's a series. Anyway, it's the fourth book in a series. Quadrilogy. Yeah. So it's actually it's from the Mistborn saga. So Brandon Sanderson has the original Mistborn trilogy, which was set in I guess like a medievally type of world. And then you have this quadrilogy, which is characters are Wax and Wayne, and it's more like the Victorian era, I suppose it would be for us, or the industrial era, where they're starting to replace horse and carts with cars, and they're bringing electricity in and stuff. And it's fantasy. It's great. I love them. But I got this book. I pre-ordered this ebook, and it came out in November 2022. And it sat on my Kindle for well over a year. And I realized as a result of this that this is a thing that I do, is that I put off reading the end of a series for a really long time because I don't want it to end. And I read it, and it was fantastic. It was the best of the four. It was so good. I cried, and it was so good. But I need to break that habit and get back into the habit of just reading one after the other. But then he's done these four, and then he's got another four which I think are set in the computer age, which haven't come out yet, or another three, and then he'll have another three that are set in space. So they're all Mistborn books, but they're all their own. He does mini arcs within his worlds. And they're very, very good. Very good if you like that kind of thing, which I do. And then the other thing that I read, I tried another book of short stories. I'm trying to find short stories that work for me. So I read Never Whistle at Night, which is dark, indigenous dark fiction. Some of the stories were so good. The first story was scary. The first story was actually, I had to go out and put something in the bin in the evening after I'd read it, and I had to turn all my lights out and turn my lights on, and take the dog with me. I get freaked out. And then the second one was just really uncomfortable. There were some that weren't good. I just didn't think they were good. And then there were some I just didn't get them. I just didn't understand them. And I think it's a combination of obviously not being Indigenous and not having all of the information. And I think that's very deliberate in some ways. And Stephen Graham Jones, who does the intro, actually talks about that a bit in his introduction. And I also think it's just not having I don't live, because it's Indigenous to the United States, people who are Indigenous to the United States, and I don't live there. So I don't have that connection in any way. And I think that separation made some of them I just didn't understand what they were about, why they were scary, the cultural impact underneath that was obviously the hidden meaning of the story I just wasn't picking up on. But they were still I could see they were very well written. I just didn't get them. And then I say some of them they just weren't good. They just weren't well written. But overall, it was good. I really enjoyed it. I think I'm getting into anthologies a bit more, and I definitely want to keep trying more. So
very nice.
It was good. And that was basically it. I can't remember. I don't think I read anything else. I can't remember in April. So that was me. So the next thing is TV and movies from April.
Okay. Well, once again, I don't have a ton to talk about here. I have been continuing in my Murder, She Wrote binge. I finally made it through season 6, which is the tough season because it's the season with all of the episodes where Angela Lansbury had gotten super overworked. So they started like making episodes about other people and just having her like introduce them, like this is somebody that I know, or this is one of the novels that I wrote, or whatever. And then it would be just like a totally random story with
I don't think
featuring.
I've ever seen any of those episodes.
I don't think
Yeah,
I don't remember
they
that.
made a whole bunch of those episodes in season 6, and then from season
Wow.
6 onward, they made a deal with Angela Lansbury to both increase her pay and like reduce her working hours so that she could actually be in all the episodes again. So season 6 apparently among Murder, She Wrote aficionados is like the least favorite because it has all of these, and some of them are good, like they're like not bad episodes, but like
Filler episodes.
if Jessica Fletcher's your main draw, like not having her in the episode
Yeah.
is kind of annoying. So, but I made it through all of season 6.
Nice.
So we're done with that. Back to the full Jessica Fletcher experience. So there was that. And then kind of the only other thing that I did is I went to see the D-Day movie in the theater. The Augusti, who is also Suga of BTS, his concert movie came out. And so, of course, I went to see that. And it was a really, really wonderful time. And, going to see a movie with Army is like always really fun. And I think I've made a local Army friend, which is awesome, so that there's somebody that I can actually like go to these things with in the future. And I had dinner with her on Monday. We had a really good time. And so like that was phenomenal. Obviously it was all footage from concerts that I had already watched when they were live back last summer because I like watched the live streams of all of them, but it was still really fun to watch. The cinematic cut was very cool, and that was a really good time. So that was kind of like the only other thing. I don't feel like I've been watching very much stuff. Like I've just been very, very focused in on my 80s murder drama and like not watching anything else. So there isn't much else to talk about there. So that's pretty much it for me.
So Matt and I, we did finish Shogun, and overall we really enjoyed it. I think the final episode felt a little quieter than because I don't really remember a lot of the OG Shogun with Richard Chamberlain, and I haven't read the novel either, so I couldn't remember if the finale of this version aligned with. It certainly aligns with what actually happened in history, so I understand why they wanted to honor that. It was just a quieter episode for it being the final episode. Still well acted, still well. Sarah, did you finish Shogun?
I haven't finished Shogun yet. I don't know. It started feeling too serious, and I just wanted to watch fluffy murder mysteries, so I took a break from it. I'll go back to it. It's really good. Like,
it is
enjoying it thoroughly, but I just haven't gotten around to finishing it yet. So.
No. It's definitely an intense series. But yeah, so that was the only thing where it's just like, I think they could have taken some more creative license with some narrative reimaginings without having to stray from keeping to what actually happened historically. I think they really played around with that a little more to ramp up some tension, given that it was the final episode. And still, just all around beautifully done. And so we really enjoyed that. And Matt was sad. He was sad when it was done. He's like, now what are we going to watch? It really was good. And then so we've also been continuing our Japanese animation movie binge, and we watched From Up on Poppy Hill, which is a Studio Ghibli. That was surprisingly, like Matt said he liked that better than The Boy and the Blue Heron, which just came out last year. I have to agree.
Interesting. Is that one? So that one's. Is it Ghibli but not Miyazaki? Is that the deal with that one? Because I haven't watched that one. So.
I think that is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's really interesting. I won't give away any spoilers, but it deals with an adult theme that I would not have imagined that they would have introduced. Because I thought maybe this was more, because a lot of these are kind of family oriented. this was like, so for them to introduce this theme, I was a little bit surprised. And we just really enjoyed it. I don't know. It is just like a slow burn and, just a lovely time. And then we did finish season 4 of Peaky Blinders. And we did make it maybe halfway through season 5. And I just don't know what we're going to do, because I think I'm like not really enjoying these characters. They're just horrible, horrible people. And it's hard for me, like, especially with some of the things that happened in season 5. I'm just like, okay, like, now that is just way too far. I mean, a lot of these events have gone OTT, but this I cannot abide. Like, that pisses me off a lot, and then after that, Matt and I just haven't gone back to it. And part of me wants to keep on because I know that Cillian Murphy is planning to do a movie. But then I was thinking about it, I'm like, but Julie, you don't like these characters. They're terrible characters. Like, they're just, you don't like them. So why would you want to watch the movie?
Spend a whole 2 hours with them.
with these people who are just so immoral. So I'm just kind of like, what do I do? So anyway, we haven't, and I think Matt's starting to feel the same way, which is like and also I just think, again, like the plot arc of this particular season. Sarah, did you watch all of
I have watched I'm trying to remember.
Or Sarah,
it's been a while. I know I've watched season 4, but I don't remember like which season that is out of all of the ones that I've watched.
So then, okay. So, and season 4 I liked. Season 5, that's where I'm just starting to be like, season 3 was not so great. Season 4 we liked a lot better. Season 5, I'm just like, okay. So I don't know. I'm just to be determined.
Okay.
To be determined.
Fair enough.
And then also, finally, we did start watching Fallout, which is like the live action rendition of the video game Fallout on Prime. I'm not really about it. I think Matt enjoys it more just because he has played Fallout. Normally, I really do like kind of post-apocalyptic premises. But for some reason, this one just isn't blowing my hair back. And, I gave it a good 3 episodes, and I finally had to tell Matt, I think you're on your own with this one if you want to keep watching, because I'm just so uninvested with any of these characters. But so many people love it. So many people really enjoy this series. So it's just maybe a me thing. Like, I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. So so that one I'm probably going to discontinue. So I think that's it for my April.
Well, I didn't watch much in April at all. So I watched a film. I watched one film in April. I watched Underwater with Kristen Stewart. And it's like it's a creature horror feature thing. Okay. And I cannot remember. And this is the problem. The film was fine. It was fairly actually unforgettable. It was just fine. But I can't remember if they're drilling next to the Mariana Trench or they're drilling at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. I cannot remember, but there's like this earthquake and the part of their station gets like damaged, like really seriously damaged. And it turns out that they've woken up some creatures or a creature or something. And it was like, the beginning was terrifying. But I'm an easy sell with that kind of stuff, because if you put them underwater or in space, my anxiety level is already so high that it takes very little to freak me out, like very little. So the beginning, when the station, like, she comes out of her bedroom and there's water dripping outside her door, and so I'm already like, oh, this is not going to go well. And it didn't. But then after that, I would really struggle to give you any salient plot stuff that happened through the rest of the film. It's such a generic creature feature type action horror. It was fine. I'm glad I watched it, but I probably wouldn't watch it again, which normally for me is a sign that a film was just a bit meh. And then the other thing that I watched, I got a bit bored with Monk, so that's gone on the back burner, and I'm now watching Charmed because I have never seen it.
Oh.
And that is always like, people always assume that I have and that I'm a Charmed person. And I get it, like, totally. I'm Buffy mad. Charmed is like the same kind of era. And, you know, and I totally understand why people would think that. But I watched up before now, when I'm like almost at the end of season 2. For whatever reason, I watched half of season 1 at some point in my life. And I watched all of season 8 when it was on the telly.
Like me and Buffy, it was like all over the place.
Yes.
Like
And then everything in between was just like, I've seen a random episode here and I've seen another one there. And so I've never really sat down and watched it all the way through. And I'm really enjoying myself. I'm actually really enjoying myself. I don't really like Prue very much, but I'm nearly at the end of season 2, so I'm not going to have to put up with her for that much longer.
Yeah, she's going to be gone pretty soon, I think.
Yeah.
Huh? Majority?
Yeah. Because
I've only watched a few seasons, and then for some reason I just never continued. I don't know if it was like, because there are cast changes a couple times. And I don't know if it was then where I'm just like, or maybe it was something in like the season plot.
Yeah, there's only one cast change, I think. One major cast change where Shannon Doherty leaves and Rose McGowan.
I thought there was another. Okay.
At least in terms of the sisters, there's only one.
Oh, okay. So I do know for some reason there was a reason. I just
but like, it's not Shannon Doherty, it's not the acting or anything. I'm just not overly enamored with Prue as a character. She irritates me. I do think, I was talking to my friend about this, and I do think if I'd watched it when it was first out, when I was in my early 20s, Phoebe would have been my favorite. Now, because I'm old, Piper is by far and away my favorite. She's just the most normal, reasonable, her head screwed on properly. I'm like, I remember her being my favorite. Yeah, and I'm sure mine is my age. Like, I just relate to her way more. But I think when I was younger, Phoebe probably would have been a favorite for me. But so I'm enjoying it. I am enjoying it. It's just entertaining. It's just entertaining, which is sometimes all you want, isn't it? So that was pretty much all of the TV watching and movie watching I did in April. So I think the only thing that is left is hobbies and or like general wildcardy stuff, right?
I think so. I honestly don't have a ton to talk about from April. I think the one thing that I want to mention is that I am actually planning to start a separate YouTube channel to talk about like fountain pen and stationery stuff. So that is going to be coming soon. I've set up the channel and everything. It's called Page of Inkwells, is what I decided to call it. So
because I just put a link for it in the description.
We'll put a link for it. There's nothing there yet, but I just have a lot more to say on that topic, and I feel like I don't want to put all of it on my tarot channel because not everybody on my tarot channel is there for fountain pen talk and ink swatching. So I'm planning to start a separate channel. So keep an eye out for that. Just another YouTube channel for me to neglect and barely ever post to, but here we have it. So that, because that's the thing. Like, I just have been spending a lot of time lately thinking and talking about fountain pens and inks and stationery and journaling and all that kind of stuff. And so I feel like it's time to start a separate channel. So
I'm so excited. Awesome.
So that's it. That's it for me.
Hobby wise, I've been doing some more coloring. So that's just been fun. Working with more of like, I'm mainly a colored pencil person, but I've been finding that gel pens have actually been fun. I had this huge thing of gel pens that was a previous birthday gift from a friend, and they've actually been a lot of fun to use for coloring. So that's just been a nice way to spend time. And then I also did another doll custom. And
let's make you big.
I talk about her on my doll channel, so I won't get like too much into it, but So
which we'll also link for in the description
yeah,
box below
okay.
if anybody
So
has not
much
watched.
hair. So much hair. So yeah,
She's
this
gorgeous.
oh, thank
Yeah.
you. Her name, I've named her Simone. Oh my God, so much hair. So ultimately what I did was I sanded down her face. So she had a glossy face and I made it matte and I rebuilt the color of her skin tone and, did the lips and some carving of the nose. And I changed also her body to a different body mold. So this is more like, this is called a Leica mold, which is more like classic Barbie doll style mold than being articulated. Just because they're so freaking top heavy, their heads are so heavy that with the body with articulated joints, they don't want to stand. They don't want to be upright. So anyway, so then, and then what else did I do with her? Oh, I painted her eyelids and gave her different eye chips.
Oh, she's so pretty.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So yeah.
That wig is amazing. Like her hair is gorgeous. Like
I know,
that is
right?
oh my God. Yeah.
I like it. Look, I like it. It's a great wig in terms of texture, in terms of like, yeah, curl. It's a little too abundant. Like I thought I might give her a haircut because I feel like they could have dialed it back with the amount of material that they did not need to use this much
Oh, I
material.
think it looks great. I think the big
love
hair
it
looks
just the way it
great.
is.
Great like that, yeah.
I love it. It's gorgeous.
Well,
I
it's
think it's
staying.
fantastic.
It's staying because I'm not cutting. I thought about thinning it out, but I'm just like, no, this is so much hair. And these wigs aren't actually, for me, they are not like the easiest to cut in style.
Yeah.
Because I've done a few. And and I do love the wig. I love the look. That's why I chose it. It's just so much of it. And it just makes her even more top heavy. And you know what? That's all right because she's just gonna stay how she is. So
Yeah. She's stunning. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, that was my April doing her, and I will probably start on another custom soon here at some point. But yeah, that was pretty much it for my April.
So again, I don't really have much to share either for April. I haven't really done much. I did have a lovely day out with my mum in April. So I went to my parents overnight and took my dog. My dad dog sat for us. And we went fabric shopping because my mum is starting some course at college and wanted to go and buy some fabrics for some stuff. And we went for a drive out, had lunch, got lost because the sat nav hasn't been updated. So we drove around Huntingdon twice until I got my own sat nav out, which is always fun. But it was really lovely. It was a really, really lovely day out. I'm reaching that point now as an adult where I actually very much enjoy my mum's company. And so it's nice to do stuff together, just the two of us. So we're also going on holiday. We also planned and booked a holiday in April as well. Not in April, the holiday's in June, but we decided in April when we're on our day out that we were going to go on a holiday together as well. So I'm really looking forward to that.
So nice.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
But other than that, that's pretty much it. I didn't really do anything else hobby wise. I've had a lot of university stuff. I'm coming up to the end of my module. So this like particular year. So there's a lot of stuff of catching up and getting my last assignments done and stuff. So April and May particularly are just very busy university wise. So I haven't had a lot of time for anything else. So that's pretty much me. And that is it. I think that's a wrap, as they say. So just a few things to share that are coming up on the 25th of May, which is a Saturday at our usual time. We're doing our book live that will be on my channel. We're talking about Net Learn Bone by T. Kingfisher. Still gives you a couple of weeks to read it if you want to join in. It will be very spoiler heavy, so just bear that in mind before you come along. If that's something you want to avoid, then definitely don't check in. I mean, maybe at the beginning there'll be a bit of generic chatting about the book, but it will get very spoiler heavy very quickly, I would have thought.
Oh, yes.
And then we're back again the following Saturday on Sarah's channel for our normal monthly live, 3 Girls, 1 Deck live. We don't have a theme yet, but once we've decided what we're doing, you'll see thumbnails and things will start to come out. And then also, we don't have a date that it's going to be posted or which channel yet, but we are recording a video with Robin from Toadstool Tarot, and we'll be recording that in the next couple of weeks, and then that will come out on someone's channel at some point not long after that. So keep an eye out for that as well. I think that's everything, right?
Yeah.
Fab. So that is us. So thank you very much for staying with us, and we will see you all very, very soon. Thanks very much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.